If the gospel is not the way of salvation, it is not a way of salvation. And we're not just dogmatic about this, we are bulldogmatic about this.
Why is the devil the one that has power over death?
He has the power of death because we are going to die, and without Christ, we are going to die without a Savior. So that gives death the sting, the power, the condemnation. And Satan is called the accuser of the brethren. And he had fangs to his bite without the sacrifice of Christ, without us being able to point to Christ. Death is a terrible thing, because what salvation, what redemption do we have? What hope or assurance do we have without the gospel? And so he had that power, but Christ comes and he says, okay, now comes the judgment of the ruler of this world. That's where he's taken. Remember, he says he's going to bind the strong man, right? And so Christ comes, takes that power. Remember, he says in Revelation 1 that he has the power to death and the grave. And so he takes it, and now we have no fear of death because of that.
Yeah, that reminds me of Psalm 23. We fear no evil because of what Christ has done.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad that you mentioned that in the Old Testament, because you might say, well, I thought you just said that it wasn't taken away until Christ. Well, it was, but even Paul, when he's writing Romans, he refers back to this relationship that David had with God, where he understands forgiveness by faith. Read Psalm 32. David, blessed is he whose sins are forgiven. Okay, so David has this assurance back then. Now, he didn't have a full picture of Christ, but he did have a shadow, because he's living in the Old Testament. He had the Torah, and he saw Joshua and Judges, and then he's in the next part. But he had enough to see Christ and to see God, and he knew God so closely. He knew that he could have assurance as he went through that valley of the shadow of death. And Christ came and actually made that real, made that complete in his ministry, in the cross and the resurrection.
We hope you were blessed by this Bible Pause. To listen to the entire discussion, go to our YouTube channel. The link is listed in the description below. Thanks for listening.